Today we're going to look at two different groups that are involved in decisions that are made in the schools you'll be teaching at. The first group is the school board. The purpose of the school board is to advocate for students, and their focus is on education. The school board is considered a governing body of the school district. So the school board is made up of 5 elected individuals. These individuals are elected by community members. They must be members that live in the community, and they cannot be teachers in the district. The school board members serve a 4-year term, and when they have elections, they try to do it on off years. So you might have 3 individuals up for election 1 year, and then 2 years from then, you'll have 2 individuals up for election. So the purpose of that, or the reasoning behind that, is so that you wouldn't have a completely new school board, that you would have some people that know the system at all times. So I skipped the section here about the types of decisions. So the school board makes several different decisions. They make decisions about budgets. You'll see that they will be approving contracts for teachers. So when you are hired into a school district, you could go to the school board meeting where they actually officially hire you at that particular meeting and vote for your contract to be either renewed or to be added. They also make decisions about approval for field trips, repairs, and any other budget matters. The school board members are in charge of hiring the superintendent, treasurer / business manager. So in this hiring process, they will look at candidates, they will organize interviews. They do want input from the school, so they will have principals, other administrators, teachers, and staff members take part in those interviews. But they are the individuals that hire the superintendent, treasurer, and or business manager. They make decisions about curriculum, and it's really under the recommendation of teachers. So if a new textbook series is going to be implemented, they will listen to teacher recommendations and then approve that curriculum. And then contractual issues. They work with teacher unions to decide on school calendars. We'll talk a little bit about negotiations and how the teachers' contracts are negotiated, and they are the group that teachers will work with on those negotiations, and they also have input on supplementals. So as I mentioned earlier, you are required to attend a school board meeting in your school district, and when you attend that meeting, you should pay attention to the way the meeting is conducted, the topics that are discussed, and when you walk away from that meeting, you should be thinking about how attending this meeting, how did it help you understand the school district you are student teaching in right now. The next group of individuals are members of the teachers union. When you get hired in at a public school, you'll have the opportunity to either join or not join the district union. When you join your school district's union, you're also joining the national union and the Ohio union. So the NEA is the National Education Association, and then the OEA is the Ohio Education Association. If you work for a private school or a religious affiliated school, you may not have the opportunity to join a union. Several private schools, and I know for sure Catholic schools, do not have unions associated with them. The purpose, though, of a teachers union is to be an advocate for the teachers. So where the school board was advocates for the students, the teachers union is an advocate for teachers, and again, both of those groups are focused on the educational system. So what kind of support do teachers need? So the types of support you will receive from your union would be the interpretation of your contract, things like working conditions, compensation, and benefits. So when you're hired on by a school district, you will sign a contract and you'll receive your contract. Your contract is not just a one-page document, it is a book. It has lots of pages in it, lots of sections, and typically divided into compensation. So with compensation, you would see pay scales, and you could see, 5 years down the road, how much will you make? If you get a bachelor, or if you have your master's degree, how much will you make? You also have a section that deals with benefits, and this would be your medical benefits, eye, dental, health, and how much you need to contribute and how much the school will contribute. Working conditions would be things with start time, stop time, how many hours you need to put in, personal days, professional days, number of sick days you have, how many duties you can have, things like that. So your union members or union reps would be able to interpret this contract for you. As a new hire, you will have somebody from the union kind of sit down with you and kind of go through some of the key features or key points in that contract. The reason you have a contract in place is so that you know the limits of your job. And so if someone was to ask you to go outside or work extra hours, or they weren't compensating you correctly, or they weren't following something in the contract will also talk about observations and assessments that way. You would talk to your building rep, about what was going on, and if there was a major issue, you could file a grievance. So for example, let's say you're a teacher that's supposed to be observed, and your principal is scheduled for an observation, but they only show up for maybe 10 minutes of the class when they're supposed to be in there for the whole entire time. If your contract says that your principal is going to be in your class for 45 minutes and they're only in there for 10 minutes, and then you feel like that evaluation wasn't really an accurate portrayal of what you're teaching, you could talk to your rep and talk about filing a grievance. I know a local school was implementing a program where students who didn't turn in homework had to go to like a study hall room and work on their homework and complete it. And they were just tacking on this duty to a couple of the teachers in the building. When they tacked on that duty, it put them over their allotted number of hours of teaching. And because of that, they were able to voice a complaint to the building principal, who then rectified that situation. So a grievance is, if there's some sort of violation going on, you can talk to your rep, and then they'll take action and talk to the principal and try to get it rectified, or talk to the superintendent. The other support you receive from the teacher union is liability insurance. So with liability insurance, this is an insurance to protect you. So if something was to happen during the school day, a child slips on paint that's on the ground, or somebody's out on the playground and they get injured, you're working with scissors and somebody cuts themselves, and the parents want to try to sue you, the teacher, with this liability insurance, you would have a lawyer that would work with you to deal with that particular situation. So any type of issues where you needed legal counsel, you would have that support from the union. The union also serves as an advocate. They will communicate with politicians and encourage you to communicate with politicians about changes that are happening in policies. So when they were talking about park assessments and students being assessed too much, you could have written your politician, and so the union would encourage you to do so. During the presidential elections and senator, governor races, the union will suggest to you or let you know, inform you about politicians that have the same views on education as the union does. They also offer you professional development, and that professional development can come in the form of a workshop. So they do offer some workshops, and they also have some monthly journals. So over here you can see this Ohio Schools magazine here. This is a journal that the OEA sends out. And then the NEA also has a journal it sends out, so you can get monthly journals. You also have access to online materials and resources. And then there's also discounts. So being part of the union will allow you to receive discounts at a variety of different organizations. One of the things you probably are most familiar with teachers' unions is their input in this collective bargaining. The reason we have a union is so that we can collectively bargain. United we bargain, divided we beg. So when we want changes and we're talking about our contract, when we're united, we can bargain with the school board on some of those changes. So every couple of years, 2 to 3 years, you will have your contract renegotiated. And so your contract, again, has all those things like working conditions, compensation, benefits. With different changes that have happened over the years, benefits have become a huge issue. It's become very, very expensive for schools to contribute to your benefits. So over the past 5 to 10 years, employees have been asked to give more. And so one of the big issues with negotiations is, are we getting a pay increase? Are we going to have to pay more for our benefits? If we're not getting a pay increase and we're paying more, we're almost losing money. So that's why negotiations become very important. Negotiations occur between the teachers' union and the school board. And you negotiate over your contract. So you would negotiate over things like the calendar, supplementals, working conditions, which would be the time you need to be in and out of the building, if they're changing the school day, start time, stop time, at any making any changes to that, benefits and compensation. If you're in a district that is financially sound, typically each year you would have a pay increase anywhere from 1% to 5%. If you're in a struggling school district, you might be on a pay freeze. And so those are things that happen as part of negotiations. The idea is that both the teachers' union and the school board will come to an agreement on a contract that they both can accept. When a contract is presented to teachers and they do not accept it, they'll have to go back for renegotiation. When you come to a stalemate or a standstill where nobody can change or nobody wants to change, then we have to call in a representative from the OEA that'll come in and mediate that. When an agreement cannot be met on a contract, that's when you hear situations of strikes. So you have a couple of negotiation times before the strike actually will come into play. But if you vote to not accept your contract, you may be voting to go on strike. And when you go on strike as a union member, you will not report to work. You will either have picket signs and stand in front of the school. You will contact people about what the issues are going on with negotiations, but you will not report to school and you will not get paid. No teacher wants to go on strike. Most teachers try to come to agreement on their contract, just like school boards don't want to strike as well. So that's what collective bargaining is. So you get hired in a school district, you sign your contract, and then you're asked if you would like to join the teachers' union. So to join the teachers' union in Ohio, it costs approximately $700 a year to be part of the school district's union. When you're a member of the school district's union, you're also a member of the OEA and NEA, so a portion of that money goes to those other two organizations. The $700 is not a lump sum. It is taken out either if you get paid every 2 weeks, it's taken out of your pay, or if you get paid monthly, it's taken out of your pay. If you decide that no, you don't want to be part of the union, there still is a pay that you will have to do. It's called the fair share fee. This fair share fee here is the cost that is associated with creating your contract. So when you get hired in a school district, you sign a contract, and the school district has to abide by that contract. That contract was developed by your teachers' union and the school board, so there's a cost associated with that. So a school district or a teachers' union could charge you up to $688, even if you're not part of the union. That's almost the cost of being part of the union. I would say that the fair share fee is probably more like a couple $100. So you have the option of being part of the union and paying the full amount, or if you're not part of the union, there still is a fee that you'll have to pay. But that allows you to have the contract, but you wouldn't receive things like the liability insurance, the professional development, the discounts. You wouldn't be able to go and file a grievance through your rep. So you wouldn't have that support system there. The way that the teacher union is run, there's a president, a vice president, treasurer, secretary, and then a couple of representatives for each building in the district. These individuals are elected by the teachers, and they report and speak for the teachers. So when big decisions need to be made, if they're trying to decide on a school calendar, if they're trying to decide on agreeing with, a decrease in benefits or whatever, typically the teacher union in that district will hold a meeting for all members. And all the members would come together and they could vote to accept the calendar or not, vote to accept the contract or not. Or they would hold smaller meetings and get the feedback from individuals in each building and give that input to the actual elected individuals. So the teachers union do offer quite a bit of support for teachers. If you're not a union member, you would miss out on some of that support. So that'll be one of the decisions you will make when you get hired into a school district.